Hello everybody, this is Justin Hickman with GwtDB. It is Friday, April 21st, 2023, and I think I may have got my microphone fixed. In the last stream we realized... I realized because of Colin that my OBS was set to the wrong mic. It was labeled incorrectly, but I am just going to jump right back into where we left off yesterday. I was working with the Domino Jackson stuff to be able to serialize, deserialize these beans, and that's basically going to be how I'm storing in the Gwt database. But I was thinking about it since yesterday. I've been pondering a lot. I did update IntelliJ, and I actually kind of like the new design. It's much more clean. Everything is surrounded to the other sides, and I even have this ability. I mean, this is compact mode and this is without compact mode. I mean, it doesn't really look too different in regards to the compact mode. I think it drops like 4 or 5 pixels. But we also have the zoom ability. This might actually be beneficial for the stream. We'll just see how this goes. So I've been rearranging some of my types because I want to differentiate between the public API and the private side, and I'm going to try to partition those off a little bit better. But then I realized that none of this is going to work with the serializer deserializer unless I'm able to deserialize. If you remember from the previous stream, we were able to create our own JSON writer, and basically converting a bean into a JavaScript object instead of actually a string. If we come through here, we can see that we're just maintaining state and maintaining this JS object and pushing and popping off of a stack or arrays and other objects. That way we can build the JavaScript object, because we still want to be able to call this stuff, because we're just holding all of this stuff in memory for now. Eventually it'll probably be pushed into IndexedDB, or maybe even like a RPC service to be able to store. But I would like to be able to quickly read the data without having to parse the JSON string every single time I want to do a lookup on like an index or something like that. So the place that we left off, we were playing around with serializing, and I also want to be able to deserialize that same object. So let's see how we can do that. So in this particular case, we're just using the default writer instance to be able to write to a JSON string. But in this particular serialize, we're passing our custom JSON writer, and that returns in the JSON writer itself. We can call get value, and that's just a JS object. It doesn't say that there, but that's essentially what we're holding on to with the value, which is a JavaScript object. So let's start things up. I'm hoping that everything will still execute, even though I updated my local environment for IntelliJ. Did I put that back in compact mode? I think it's the yeah, I did. I think it's the zoom that's messing with me a little bit. That's actually pretty nice to be able to see a lot more of my editor this way. And this is IntelliJ, what is that, 2023.1. So fairly new, fairly new. And I'm hoping that this compiles and I can actually get this to work. I don't know if I mentioned, but this will probably be somewhat of a shorter stream because I need to go get a rental car this afternoon before the weekend. My car's in the shop because in the winter we met a deer on the road. That wasn't too fun, and my car's in the shop right now. Seems like a lot of auto mechanics right now are really backed up, and it took a long time for my appointment to come up. Well, this seems to be working. All right, cool. So let's come over here to the Gwt code server, and let's make sure that that executes as well. And even though the Gwt plugin was updated, it still has that weird issue where the first time I run it, it's like, hey, we have dependency problems, but then I run it again and it's like, oh, it's resolved. All right, this is port 8080. Grab the browser over here. This is the compiled version, so this is not super dev mode yet because it hasn't come up. Should be able to at least open up the dev tools so that we can see the objects coming in. And this is what it looks like, at least with without the super dev mode. So we actually do have a real JavaScript object here, which is pretty nice. And I actually might, if I'm thinking about it, because I have in the base GwtDB, the base bean wrapper, and this is basically the ability to wrap any of the data types for the database, so that it has the auto stuff with Domino Jackson. I might actually make this like a JS interop bean. That way we can grab some data from it, even whenever it's a maybe not. I don't know. I might play around with that. Different ideas that I've been having. All right, there we go. The code server's up. Let's go ahead and start this up, and let's see what this looks like. All right, so there's the other data. So it's looking identical, and this is the taking the string. If you remember what we were playing around with last time, we're basically just converting this to a string and then using global JSON parse to parse that JSON string back into a JavaScript object. And I just wanted to verify that they were essentially the same thing. So even if I were to serialize out to a string, I would be able to use that. So what I want to do is the JSON writer get value, both of those occurrences serialized. So now person DB impl, I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to create our own JSON reader. But I don't know how that's going to work because this isn't a string. JSON reader. Okay. I don't think I spelled that right. All right, so let's just set this up. Create a local variable, new default JSON deserialization builder build. I I'm not entirely sure what options we have with that. All right, so accept single value as array, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I care about any of that. So I have to get a JSON reader. So if I have a JSON or JS object reader, there we go. Gotta have to figure out how to do this in reverse order. That's going to be the fun part. JS object reader implements JS or JSON reader from Domino Kit. Implement all those methods. We'll probably have to do a lot of this stuff again. This will be fun. So the first thing that I want to do is probably throw in some console logs. Just to see what we have in regards to call stack. Again, array. It's probably a better way to do this, but I do not know off the top of my head. Yeah, this might be difficult. Oh. Do you know if the API is streaming or will recursively visit children? I'm guessing streaming. I am not sure. I haven't actually looked at this. All of this is just on the fly for me. I know I could probably ask the Domino guys. But I like learning this stuff too. What do you mean? The stack that I had in the other writer? That worked for me in regards to being able to serialize. Man, there's gotta be a way to do this. Let me probably pointless to do this, but this is the capital L lazy for creating a tool to do this. It'll probably only be done once. Live templates is probably what I want. Don't I have my own custom my templates? Yeah, I've created a few. And we want to trace method. All right, template. Let me see if I can remember how this works. Applicable in Java. Maybe that. Yeah, statement. Yeah, I like to go back to my other ones just to see if That'll work for me. All right, so console. I need a DOM global console. I probably need to do elemental2 dot DOM global console log and variables. How am I going to do the variables? Cannot recall how those work. Sorry, does that not apply here? I had to go on another call. Well, I'm doing the deserialization now, and I don't really know how this is going to play out. Okay. So I should be able to trace method. Nice. Saves me some typing. Oh, that's so nice. Why didn't I do that yesterday? Of course, again, I probably should have had a local log instead of doing all of these individually. Okay. I just want to see what it's actually called and when. So I am not entirely sure how we're going to deserialize this. It's weird. It sounded like a PlayStation starting up for a second. Weird music. All right, let's compile that guy. All right, so we got a peak, begin object, peak, end object. I might have to look at one of the existing readers. I think there might be only one. Yeah, it looks like there's 3. Non-buffered default. Let me just look at the other default and see what it has. Attached sources. I know that this is looking at it in terms of a string. I'm not entirely sure how we can do this in reverse order. Well, I thought I was gonna sneeze. Wanted to turn off my mic before then. So we had a peak, begin object. So we need to return a JSON token. We probably first need to set the JS object value. I mean, I can do a really stupid way of just doing a like a JSON JSON to string, right? And then deserializing with the default stuff. I don't know. That seems to be overkill. I don't know what would be worse. Well, it's not value. We'll have to change the name of that later. No, I already have a JSON object and I'm converting back into the normal object. Yeah, back into a bean. I don't think it's going to be possible. But I was thinking that it might be a little bit easier. Well, yeah, I know that you can do JSON parse. I'm just not entirely sure how to deserialize this back into an object. Does this return anything? Yes, it returns the deserialized object. All right. Deserialized. I really doubt this is going to work, but we should see what this looks like at least. Console log deserialized. Let's just throw that onto the console and see what it looks like. So it automatically instantiates I wonder, let's take a look at peak. And we should probably take a look at the peak here as well. Just to see what that does. Whew. All right, so this is basically going to determine, yeah, peak at the peak. This is basically going to determine what we're currently at. Well, let's take a look at the object. The way we're doing it, we basically had a name and we followed it up with a value. So if I take my JS, my value, my JS object, oh, cool. You can do nested gets. Oh, that's kind of cool. Call stand gets. Stupid closed captioning. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So my thought process, so that I'm not just in here with white noise or dead air. I'm thinking that I'm going to have to parse, well, not parse because it's already a JSON object, but I basically need to go through all of the other properties, because every time it's calling peak, it's trying to figure out what type of property it is. I mean, this is a little bit different because we're going to have to break apart the property name and the value as separate calls to peak. This might be really stupid, but I thought there was a way to get at least all of the keys. I want to maintain where we're currently at in like an iterator. It'd be nice if this had an iterator. I mean, it has a for each here, It's just doing internal JS for each. What is that returning? What is value? It's a string. Yeah, misspelled value there. That's fine, which is good because it was masking the earlier one. Yeah. What? Oh, am I not? I don't think I'm setting the value, am I? I am not. JSON reader set value. Serialized. That would help. Ow. Yeah. I could probably just return a JS object here. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It'd probably be better that way. Okay. Let me take a look at this. Why doesn't that have anything? Oh. I didn't finish that. It's a Friday. It's fine. All right, so here's prop string data. Prop string data. So it really only has the one property. That's interesting. So whenever you're iterating over, let's see, whenever you're iterating over doing that for each, it's just trying to figure out for the current object what all of the other properties are. All right. All right, so this is gonna be so weird. Let me say that whenever we get into set value, we are going to push onto a stack, a couple of stacks probably. I don't know. How many stacks did I have here? Was it just the one? Yeah, object stack. Because I kind of need the object stack in my particular case, but I also need to pull out the properties of each. Not that stack, that stack. Need to keep track of time. I might not need to do that. I could probably just object stack clear, object stack push value. But I also need to keep track of the properties that I'm currently doing. So I need a stack. This is going to be weird. I'm just going to try to get it to work first. No, I can just get the property map, but I do need a list of the other properties. So it's like, private void push, it's object value, object stack push value. I'm just going to try to maintain these as an atomic unit. Fine. Import it. Just bear with me. Key stack. Let's create a field for that, and this is going to be a stack of list of string. All right, so if I have that, so I do that, and then I push the value onto the stack. All right, so the very first peak. Let's get rid of these. We need to just peek at the other stack. I'm trying to do this in weird order. Kind of just need to know what key we're currently on. Since it's a list, we can always just remove the thing that we've already done. Boolean on key equals true. All right. So let's say the first peak, we want to take the property stack or key stack. Peak, and that's going to return a list. And we also want the object stack peak. And this is going to be current object. And we really don't need it as a JS object. We kind of only need this as a property map. So we have the other props. There we go. If keys is empty, return JSON token and object. Yeah, I'm gonna have to know if it's an object or an array. That's a weird name. Private Boolean is object equals true. So we know that the top level is going to be an object. So if it's empty, return is object. If it's an object, we need to end that object. Otherwise, end array. And we need to pop. Object stack pop. Key stack pop. Because we're at the end of all of the other keys in our collection here. But obviously the first one is not going to be empty. So what we can do is keys get 0, or actually remove 0 key, because the peek is going to happen for both the property names and I can't remove from the peek. That's stupid. I'm assuming this is going to call end object, so I might do the other pops there. Let me just do that. Let's just think of this in terms of the initial properties. Which the very first one is going to be the key. So I'm just taking a look at here. We have begin object, end object, begin array, JSON name. So the very first one, we're going to have a name. If on key, return JSON token dot name. See what that looks like. Yeah, I figured that was going to have an issue. We did a peek and then we did another peek. So I think that second peek is to figure out what the next value is. So let's console log on key. No, because I think it's going to fetch something. And it's probably going to do like, no, it didn't. Why didn't it? What does that first peek do? Because it's calling peek, peek, begin object, peek, and the next name. What was the original order? I should probably maintain that before we messed around with it. There we go. So peek, peek, begin object, peek, end object. I'll take a screenshot of that. So now that we have a name, the next name is going to return JS as, nope, key stack peek dot remove index 0. Right? Because that's going to remove the other first. So it's calling peek, and that's basically going to set us up for what we're going to be calling next. That's cool. Okay. Look at that data, and it created a person. All right. So then that next peek It should probably be a little bit more clear. So then whenever we get the next name, on key equals false. So if it's not on key, some value. So props get the key, which is going to be, oh, that's not good. We removed it. Okay. Since we removed it, we actually need to this dot last key equals that, and then return last key. We need to know what the last key was. Probably need to change it from key to name, but I'm also dealing with this property map where it's key value pairs. So that's a whatever value. So here I have to figure out what this value is. Let's just go ahead and print that out. And it's just an object. That's not very helpful. Well, let's just return JSON token begin object. Let's just see what this looks like. The problem is that the very top level object that we have, which is the bean wrapper, it only has data as a field and it's pointing to the rest of the object. I need to get into that person object to start seeing like key value pairs with like name and string and name and string and name and age, you know? So let's see what this is going to look like. So we did get begin object. These seem to be called in a weird order. I just don't understand. Well, I am putting extra logs in here to be fair. So this peak and peak name might actually be happening at the same time. Let's just get rid of that one. All right, so peak name. Let's do a peak name again. I don't get that. Was it expecting? What is it expecting for the first two names? Because it's calling peak twice before it actually calls like next name. Then it does begin object. Then it calls peak again, but I need to do something with begin object. Okay, so begin object. Well, what's the current key? Oops, last key. It's null. How is that possible? Peak name, oh, it's because we didn't actually grab the name. Yeah, I don't really understand the order of these. Because you would think that if I return name, wonder if I should be returning begin object to begin with. If true, return JSON token begin object. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Very first time that we peek, we begin the object. Private Boolean started. If not started, started equals true, begin object. All right. That will give us the begin object. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to do. Yeah, that seems to have worked a little bit better. I just don't know what to do on the very first. I should probably change this. If not started, then we just say started is true and return. Otherwise, we'll have to push the next object onto the stack. All right, we got the next name, peak end of array and object. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that very first one, peak begin object. Yeah, it's called again for some reason. I still don't get that. Because it's doing all of those before it actually calls anything else. Oh, wait. I don't think I console logged here. Yeah, let me just move that up here. I know. This is probably not fun to watch. Peak begin object, but then it calls peak begin object again. Before it calls begin object. I don't know. I mean, as long as we get the resulting object at the very end, we should be fine. Correct. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why I decided not to change any state in the other peak. I moved the started to the begin object because I need to know whenever it's the first one, because it's not going to have something that gets pushed onto the stack So I don't want to mutate or remove keys or anything like that in here. So the very first time that we peek, we know that we're going to begin an object. So let's just return that one, be done with it. And then it should call begin object right after. If not, it'll just call this again and it's still cool. But then as soon as it calls begin object, that's whenever we can mutate the state and shift it a little bit. And we just say, hey, it started, and we return, and then it peaks again. And this time we check to see if the keys is empty. And if it is, it means that we're done with that current object on the stack, the top of the stack. And we're returning it's either object or an array, and we have to figure out how that's going to work. But then let's say that there are keys. If we're on the key side of things, because remember, whenever we call peek, it's going to be either the name or the value. So we need to basically toggle back and forth between the key and the name. So here we're saying, hey, we're on the key, so we're just going to peek at the name. And that's what it's going to return. Otherwise, we're going to get the object. Right now, I'm just printing it out. Where's my Chrome? I thought it was peak name, next name. Peak end of array. Oh, it's because when we're calling next name, we're removing it. And not on key. If it's on the key, ugh. If it's not on the key, meaning that we already got the name and now we're not on the key anymore because we set this to false. So the next one would be the value. I feel sorry for anybody that has to read this code after me. Yeah, it's still doing it. Next name. Peak name. Next name. I return the next name. Data, right. And on key should be false. Oh wait, on key. Is that right? There we go. Okay. Now we're on the other value side. That's right. So if it's empty and we're on the key, then that means that we're done with that array or the object. That makes more sense. So now we're on the other value side. So ignore that, and we're on the value side, and we have this some value. We kind of need to know what that value is. The very first time we're just returning begin object. So I think that created the other person object, but then it does not have anything inside of that person object yet. I don't think. No, that's just the prototype stuff. Yeah, so the other person object is there, but it's empty. All right. So there's the sum value. Yeah, it's calling peak twice at this. I guess it's just to be for sure. Begin object data. All right. Begin object data. So here we want to take the JS as property map of the object stack peak props.get last key. And this should be a if we're getting in here, it should be a JS object. And we just push that value. Oops. Yeah. I mean, that might be fine. So now we're inside of the person object. Some value undefined. Last key. We're still on data. It's because we're still thinking that we're on the key side. On key equals true. There we go. Some value for first name is Justin. I need to see what that is. DOM global? Type of V. Just curious what that's going to show. All right, string. Nice. Object, string. Okay, cool. I mean, object. Not sure what I would do as the other default. Return null. I don't know what would happen. All right, so then it's a string. So then it calls next string. That's nice. All right, so let's go to next string. Return object stack get or object stack peak. JS as property map of that get last key. And we're going to just cast it. We're going to assume that we're correct. And on key equals true. Yeah, well, that broke something. And now we're on the last name. That returns a string. This returns a number. Oh yeah, and that's probably gonna get number or next int. It's kind of interesting that it's an int. I guess it's because it already knows because of the bean that it's deserializing to. And probably just need to yeah, whatever that's gonna be. And I could probably do like some data type and just cast it here. All right, next string, current value. There we go. So all of these are basically going to do the same thing, right? I don't know what to do with next null. Next long. Next int. Skip value. I don't know if I'll ever call that. We'll see. I don't know about line number. That's going to be weird. Or column number, because this isn't actually a string. All right. Next. Next Boolean. Here we go. Forgot some. Okay. That might actually take care of a lot of them. This is so weird, this way of developing. Yeah, we got a class cast exception. Some value for age 20. It's a number. And it's calling next int on that. Well, let's class cast exception, huh? Probably because I'm throwing it in there as a double. Do I have the original? Yeah, here we go. It's just a number. Yeah, let's just see what this looks like. Numbers don't have a type. Shouldn't cause a class cast exception unless you box it. Yeah, I don't really know that. All right, so we're on the next int. So the current key is age. Current value is object. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, shoot. Well, that's what I would have assumed. So let's go into get current value. Let's just take a look at this object stack, and it's going to be the top one, which is going to be this one right here. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's because this dot. And we're calling get on this, so it's basically just age. Yeah, I'm just curious why that's having an issue. Get current value, and it's casting to something. How would I get the primitives out of here then? Do I need to get it as an any? Let me throw in a, I know this isn't going to line up. As soon as it recompiles, I should be able to come in here and do that. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's collapse that. So any is Hickman. That's fine. Here, any is 20. Okay. What can I do with any? As int. Okay, so maybe I need to return the current value as an any. And I'm going to have to update all of these places. As string, as boolean, as double. This might be the other safer way to do it. As long, as int. There we go. And let's go ahead and remove all of our breakpoints. It is 1 o'clock. Still doing fine on time. All right, there we go. So now we got to the other children. And it's like, I don't know what to do with this. And that's kind of interesting. So unknown property, children, and deserializer. What? Unknown property, children. Oh, is that? Oh. Was that not a, or no, that's a key. Next name, children. Yeah, I might have to break where it's dying. Yeah, it's gonna have a lot of these. All right, I am going to remove that stuff. And let me put a breakpoint in a different spot. It's object reader. Let's just do get object. throw a breakpoint there because we know it's all safe until that point. Now whenever I hit play, now we can actually see the exception that occurs. Here we go. Unknown property. How is that possible? I'm assuming this is meaning that it's looking at the bean definition behind it, and it's like, I don't know what children is. Makes me wonder. Might have to clean this. I don't remember if I added the arrays before or after. Get rid of some of these breakpoints. I just don't remember if we did a clean last time we changed the person definition. So that might be the other problem that we have here. I know that I've done a clean compile multiple times, so should at least have it in the generated stuff. No, it's still having an issue. Oh wait, no. Here we are. Okay, we did get further this time. All right, so so that's an object. So if it's an object, then we got to see if it's an array. So case object, where is that? Global is array? No. JS array is array? Yeah. V. Otherwise return an object. So if it's an array, it's going to return the begin array. Otherwise, we're just going to assume it's just a normal object and we need to push that. All right. All right, so it's calling begin array. Begin array. How's this gonna work? I mean, do we just push the array onto the stack? Right now we're just pushing JS objects. I think a JS array is a JS object, so that might work. So if we are on the array, on key equals true, even though we're not going to be doing keys, I'm not sure how this is going to work. All right, so is object is false, basically letting us know that it's not an object, that it's an array. I mean, we need to just remember the two different states. On key is going to be false, right? No. Yeah, that one we may not have to modify right now. Push. Basically just need to do the same thing here. I can probably pull that out. All right. Begin array. So what's called after begin array? Some value. All right, so now we're calling some value. Some value, which is going to be this. And we're just trying to figure out what it's going to be. See, and that's going to be the other problem here. So if is object, that's what we have to do. Obviously, that's not gonna be. It's not gonna be correct for an object. I think I can move all of this inside of there. So if we're an object, then we can do that stuff. Otherwise, if we're not an object, this is basically going to be a JS array of some sort of object. And let's cast that. Nope. All right, so now we're going to have to keep track of our indices. Unless we just remove, or we shouldn't remove. Stupid. Array. All right, create field 0, begin array. We can do this dot current array index is equal to 0. All right. And then that increments after that. And then we basically just need to run through the rest of this stuff, right? Yeah. So in that case, we have object v equals null. You can do that. And then v is equal to that. Hello, thanks for the other follow. Mono New Zealand or just NZ? All right, so then we have the last key there. And we just determine what type of value it is, and we can return appropriately. Ah, thought so. Welcome to the stream. All right. Begin array. Some value for children. Some value for children. No, that's not what I wanted. Console log. Yeah, I mean, I'm writing in code that's going to transpile some array value. Of course, we're going to have to determine when we're at the end of the array. Kind of interesting that we're not calling... Yeah, we're calling begin array there, but then we call some value. Begin array is object false. Yeah, transpiling is very interesting because you have to think in two different languages. Trying to figure out how to convert back and forth between the two. Yeah, I don't understand this. As we call begin array. Oh. That's right. Duh, some array value. We need to check the length. If the current array index is greater than or equal to the length, return JSON end array. Begin object children. That's not right. Yeah, I haven't done Kotlin, to be honest. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense here. Yeah, because we need to begin the object, but it's going to be this object now. It's because we have the other last key. All right, so if is object, that's what we would do. Else, we're an array. Wait, why are we doing begin object there? Begin array, some array value. I was calling that twice. Oh, it's because I'm incrementing, duh. Duh. I shouldn't be mutating state in here. That was my bad. I was mutating state in here. All right. What? Oh. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out. Yeah, I'm not sure. Begin object. I think it's because we're here. Makes me wonder. Children, and then it's calling peak. I wish I was a little bit more consistent on my logging here. These are both in peak. Begin array. Current index is 0. And then it peaks. Yeah, it peaks 3 times, but then it does a begin object. Because I guess technically it is returning an object for that first one. but it's also not saying. Oop, nope. This is going to be a pain because this is an object inside of an array. Right. I was having some issues with Jackal on my Mac. Seems to have froze things up every time I've used it. Too many resources, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I might have to capture more stuff. It's gonna be a pain. I might have to create an object that can encapsulate all of this stuff and just drop down to a single stack. Because I also need to know in each object whether or not we're currently, like, current state of the other stack, are we dealing with this as an array so that we're using indexes for the retrieving the next data, or are we in an object where we're going back and forth between key value pairs? So yeah, I might have to return. I might have to create a class to encapsulate, because whenever we pop off after we begin the object, that's going to be a problem, because we're beginning an object and we were immediately saying, hey, we're an object now, even though we're an object inside of an array. So that state needs to be held within the stack. Oh, and that's going to be a pain, because if it's an array of values, like an int, double, null, string, whatever, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, because even this won't work. Yeah, that's a pain. That's a pain. So I'm having to rewrite a lot of this stuff because of the fact that we're clobbering state as we're going down, and that wasn't really known to me until we started going down into like the third level of object. So we have like the object array of object. So once we get down to there, we lost a lot of context as to how we got there. So I probably need to hold more state inside of here. And each one of them are going to be a little bit different, where we can have like abstract any get current value. Oops. Get current value, and this is going to return for the object node as property map value, or obj get as any last key. And then the array node get current value. That is going to return, I mean, this one I can just hold on to the array. There we go. So now we have a get as any of that index. Stack of stack node. Stack. I'm gonna have to figure out how this all plays together because I've done a lot already. So here I can just return stack peak current value. And that'll work for both the object node and the array node. So whenever we set the value initially, I'm just going to modify push, and see, this is where I was having some issues because then it was iterating on a property map even with a an array, and that doesn't have any properties, so it gets into some weird state. So here, so we can pre-populate for this object node. And then here, Boolean is object. Public default, Boolean, no, abstract. I don't know why I was thinking it was an interface. Is array, return not object. Okay. Yeah, this is probably not making a lot of sense right now because I changed directions in the middle. Um, it's a set value. We clear that object stack. We do a new object node with that value. And let's just go ahead and put it on our stack. Just be done with it. Oh, not that. What did I just do? Stack that push that. That was weird. I don't know what I was thinking. All right. So then let's rewrite a lot of this stuff. If we haven't started, we begin object. Yeah, this is going to be a whole lot of broken. All right, so begin object, begin object. So now it's on begin object. So this is where we would mutate the state. And we know that it's an object. And that has that already been pushed onto the array? That has not. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Start at a return, yep. We'll fix that stuff here in a little bit. And then empty stack exception. Empty stack exception. Where is it trying to access the stack? Are we trying to pop somewhere? Oh, because we have this object stack. That's correct, but where is that done? Oh, right here. All right. So objects or stack peak. And that's the current. If the current is an object, I can call if current oh, you know, I never excluded this. From the object side. I didn't in the array before. But we basically just need to know if it's if we're done. It's done. Let's just pay attention to the object side for now. JS token, no, JSON token, and object. So let's add a method in here. Well, both of these are going to have to implement the is done. And I am going to probably split the screen here so that I can look at the code that I'm writing. So the way we know that we're done is if the keys is empty and we're on a key, because the key values only matter in the object side. So basically the same stuff is up there. Return true. Otherwise return false. Yes, I can simplify this. Just want to make sure that's all. All right, so keys is empty and we're on a key. Okay. So that takes care of that. If current is on key, return JSON token name. And of course, this is only going to be acknowledged from the object one. All right, so that takes care of that one. So now we have v equal current. See, and this is calling prop.stat get last key. Current value. So I guess here I can convert this to an any, right? I don't know what that's going to do. Let me just do an object. Is that going to fail? All right, otherwise, if we're inside of an array, let's get rid of this stuff. So we have the current, so we can ignore that. If we're done, we can return JSON token end array. So that takes care of that. Otherwise, we do get current. I can do that on both of these. So I can get these a little bit easier. Yeah, maybe not. That's fine. And I'm not sure if this still works. So I do need the is done on the array node. And that's basically going to be if the index is greater than or equal to the array length. Right? All right, so begin object null. Empty stack exception. I'm still getting that. Still looking at the wrong stack, aren't I? We gotta throw that over there for now. Let's just get rid of these other stacks. Object stack. Begin array. We'll have to get rid of that. But we're not even to that point yet. Oh, we might be. I removed a lot of logging, didn't I? Haha. So next name, yeah. And we know if we're here. This is actually an object node. Because we won't be calling getName on when we're inside of the array context. Okay. Probably shouldn't remove all of my debugging. All right, begin object. Might have to put some of the debugging back. I swore I got rid of that. Oh, begin object. All right, so this is the second pass. So here we can do stack peak node or current, like current. Yeah, maybe I can do a get name and then I'll return the current name. I know I'm going back and forth between key. Let me do key. I know I'm going back and forth between these two. Wonder if I can wouldn't it be get current value? It's the array. I guess I got it over here. Get current value. Yeah, so it's already doing that. So what, are we just going to push this onto it? And we know that it's going to be an object, so push new object node that. I don't know if that's correct or not. Can't I just do this as an object? Oops, cast. Maybe. Otherwise, we're in an array. Yeah, I can get rid of that stuff. Stack. No, that doesn't make any sense. I don't think we're going to have that issue, are we? Because if we're beginning an object and we're currently in an object, oh, that makes sense. So stack push new array node. Did I not, did not. And I'm just going to cast object cast. Oh, that does not work. JS cast. I don't know. I think I've lost sight of the forest for the trees. Cannot read property undefined. Yeah. I don't think I'm actually setting the current key ever. Nope. This dot last key is equal to that return last key. All right, I am probably going to have to wrap up in the very near future. It's almost 2 o'clock. I was hoping to get a little bit more into this, but does not look like I'm going to get very far. Data. Are we not setting? How are we not doing that? I swear I set the value. Yeah, right here. Oh, got the keys, but I never got the actual object. This dot obj. I need to get some consistency here too. All right, class cast exception. That is quite a bit further. And that's fine because we haven't redone the next string yet. So all of these are basically going to don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about that. Yeah, let me just start getting rid of some of this stuff. All of this cruft. As key, don't need to worry about that. Started, I do. Don't need to worry about that. Now that we're maintaining state inside of those, it's probably going to be a lot easier. Probably should have done this to begin with. All right. Stack clear. That's cool. I don't think I'm pushing like this anymore. Or popping. That's fine. Don't need to worry about this stuff anymore. All right, so begin object. I don't really care about that. And begin array. So if we're beginning an array, so beginning an array. I guess it's just stack.push new array node. Current. I mean, if it's an array of an array, that's probably gonna be a problem. So if the current is equal to that, I'm wondering if this is going to basically be the same as begin object. Kind of looks that way. What if I just call begin object? Because it kind of handles both the array and the object. All right, class cast exception. Let's see where that's at. At current value. I don't think I'm actually doing the key management over here correctly. Let's see what state we're on whenever we get that class cast exception. I'm assuming this is going to be it. All right, so last key is data. All right, well, I do need to wrap it up, unfortunately. It is a quarter to 2 o'clock. I've been almost 2 hours. It's a little bit longer than I was expecting. I think I need to put a lot of extra debug stuff in here because I don't think I'm getting a good picture of exactly where I am in the operations here. I kind of, whenever I switched how I'm handling state, I think I overloaded my brain a little bit in that context switch. So I'm going to think a little bit more about this between now and the next time. I'm probably not going to stream next week because I'm going to have visitors. So I'm not going to be able to have that kind of opportunity. Kids are on spring break anyways, so might not be a good thing for me to stream next week, but in a couple of weeks, whenever I get back to this, I am going to get this done because we already can see that it is possible. It's just a matter of maintaining state, of traversing the JavaScript object so that whenever it's getting pushed back into the real class, the Java class, that it's able to do it appropriately. So we at least see it's possible. It's just not fun. It is not fun. I mean, obviously this was written in terms of reading off of a stream or something like that to being able to peek at the current token, all of this tokenized. But we can kind of think of an object graph as being a token stream or token stack. But we will just have to see how well it works. And once we get this deserialization done, then we can start getting back onto the GWT database side to be able to serialize, deserialize, update all of the indexing and all of that stuff. And that's going to be across the JSON objects. And that's actually going to be good, because then we no longer have to do name properties, since the data behind the database is now going to be JSON or JavaScript objects. We'll actually be able to use these property names directly, and being able to chain these together, that's going to be simple to do, and no more having to pass in lambdas for accessing the data. So that'll be pretty nice. So in the next stream, we'll do all of that, and I hope that you guys have a great week. I don't know what Colin's streaming schedule is going to be for next week. If he is around, he's probably going to be streaming around Wednesday. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.